Hey, everybody. It's Patricia Hayes here. Welcome to the 15-Minute Advocate. I am so glad to be with you yet again today. I've been running around today and I did not want to miss our session, so I'm stealing some time here away in the convention center. Oh my gosh, it's a zoo over here, but it was also a zoo back at the Capitol. So here's our topic for today. Today's topic is the advocacy and the importance of being prepared. That just came to me today with there's so much going on in our world around us, socially, politically, whatever. And with some of there's a big, very controversial bill up at the Texas Capitol today. And it just reminded me, but there were all these people. I mean, this bill was being heard at 8 o'clock in the morning. They've been announced and laid out. And when you just go look at the mechanics of what it takes to be prepared, to have hundreds and hundreds of people to come prepared to testify. And the last count that I heard, I don't know how many it ended up, but on this particular bill, it ended up, last I heard, there were at least 400 people registered to either speak on the bill or to register, in favor or in opposition of the bill. And here's an important thing about that, is that takes preparation. I mean, we're talking about people being prepared because you have to do this in person. You can't do this by phone. You can't do it online. You have to show up in person to register your opinion, to write it out, to prepare remarks to give them. And they have been at it since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's going to go late into the evening, I'm quite sure. And here's the thing, that requires preparation on so many parts. It requires preparation on the parts of the folks who are going to be hearing everyone, of course, just the logistics of having enough room, of having enough space, of making sure that all of the mechanics of things work well as far as using computers to register, having access for people who may have special needs, all of that. But think about also the preparation on behalf of those people who are coming because they feel so strongly about this issue that they're going to be there and be ready to make sure that their voice is heard. So here are some of the key things when you're thinking about making sure you're prepared when you're dealing with your issue, whatever it may be, whether it's a political issue, a social issue, a work issue, whatever it is. Number one, you gotta have the right information, right? And you gotta stay on top of it. Because so often, and a lot of times, information changes and things change at the last minute. So you gotta have your information, you gotta have a source, you gotta have connections and relationships in order to maintain good information. Number two, you got to be ready to go on a moment's notice because you don't always know when something's going to take place. You don't always know. Sometimes you may have some notice of, okay, in 2 months we're going to be dealing with this, and you'll have an opportunity to be heard. You'll be able to submit your opinions in writing or whatever. Or it literally could be, hey, this is coming to a vote in 8 hours. We need everybody on deck, all hands on deck. And you have to be prepared to go on a moment's notice. So that's one of those things that's really important when it comes to being prepared because you don't know when it's time for your voice to be heard. And you need to be prepared to do that. And these examples that I'm giving are ones physically being there to speak or to write or something like that. And remember, we talked about earlier in the previous sessions that it may not always be that way, okay? So you people who are like anti-public speaking, don't freak out because your role in being prepared on short notice or for whatever in advocacy is just as important behind the scenes. Those people there has to be somebody who calls these people, who emails them, who lets them know, hey, it's going to be our turn to come up and talk. It's going to be your turn to be prepared to do something. All of these things work together. There's, what is that saying? No man is an island. No man is an island when it comes to advocacy. Even if it's something that's working on for you for, let's say, a work environment, right? Remember, we're talking about being your own advocate for whatever it is you're doing. again, staying in touch with people and getting good information, because then what happens is the person who has the hookup on the information may give you a call and say, hey, by the way, this is going to happen in the next 2 days. You might want to, here's your heads up, you might want to be prepared for what's coming down the pipe. Okay, so think about that. It applies in all situations. So you want to have good information, you want to be prepared on short notice in order to go, and then you have to be ready and willing to engage, because it doesn't matter to have good information and to be available if you're not really willing to engage. And that's something that some people can get stuck on, because they're like, well, I don't know, that's not really my forte, that's not my thing. But again, you can be an advocate, you can be a participant in the process, whatever process it may be, whether it's your local school board, to your local city council, to your workplace, whatever. You can be a participant at any time and in the way that fits your comfort level. You have to be available to do that. So you have to be available and willing to be able to engage. I'm sitting places I'm getting recognized. And so you want to make sure so what do we say? We want to make sure to have good information, to be prepared on short notice, and be willing to engage. Because when you get that invitation to come speak, to represent, your issue, whatever, you definitely have to be willing to actually do the work. You have to be willing to do what it takes in order to have your voice to be heard. So very important. It's also really interesting when I talk about the mechanics of things, right? Of having whatever resources, the things that you need. If there's a certain number of people need signs and pins, you need your resume, you need your business cards, whatever it might be. It seems simple and silly to say that, but I don't know how many times I've been somewhere and just horrified if I go digging around in my purse and realize I don't have any more business cards. Oh my gosh. How embarrassing is that? Or, in the day of LinkedIn and Facebook or whatever, but sometimes there are some things you like to do. I have a personal thing about making sure I leave little notes behind. So I may write on the back of the business card where we met, what the issue was, right? Again, being prepared. Those little things can mean a whole lot. Another thing that could be problematic is remembering names. Oh my gosh. So here I am, a person who does this for a living, and sometimes I do. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot remember a name. But those little things add to your effectiveness, your ability to connect, because that's what advocacy is about. And we'll talk about that on another time, perhaps, about the ability to connect at a genuine, authentic level so that your message can be received, okay? So you do want to, again, make sure that when you're being an advocate, you're engaged in advocacy, the importance of being prepared and how it's important to be able to have the right information, to make sure that you are ready to go on a moment's notice, to make sure that you're actually willing to engage when the time comes, and that you keep up with the resources that you need in order to engage when the time comes. It's really important to do those things. So those are some of the things that just came to me off the top of my head, and I'm sitting here thinking about and looking at all of these things that were going on around us and how important it is to be ready and willing to go when the time comes, because there are things that I've always taken for granted when doing this. But again, that comes from practice and knowing and getting a formula down and getting a routine down on how to address things. And that's not always the case. So that's something that always helps people as well, is if you talk to someone who's experienced with what you're trying to do, or, talking to others is a great way to try and help you be prepared and be ready to go. Because too many times people are stuck in their own little heads and don't want to reach out to others, but you will be amazed at how many others are either feeling in the same way or in the same boat as you, or the others who are perfectly willing to help you and give the advice that you need in order to get you to where you want to be, personally and professionally, or whatever, in the context of being a strong advocate for your cause, for your issue, for yourself, ultimately. Okay? So again, the time flies when you're having fun. And speaking of fun, the fun is going to continue. So the 15-minute advocate will continue through the remainder of this week with new episodes. And then I think we're going to take it on a weekly basis. But the other thing I also want to toss out there is I'm really, really interested in learning about those of you who are interested in doing the Advocacy Academy. And that would be where we address some in-depth issues one day at a time for I think I said like hour and a half of intensive. So whether it's talking about the very basics of public speaking, writing, communication, and being prepared, all of those things, but looking at some detailed things. And I really, really want to make sure that this program is focused on things that people really care about. And I have tons of experience, but again, I've been doing this a long time. But the reality is of what someone today may be thinking is, oh my gosh, I have so many questions about X. So I look forward to getting your input on that. And it's getting a little busy around here, so I may end this here soon. But hit me up in the comments. I'd really like to hear what you have to say. And I'd love to hear what you have to say, and what will, and then getting this program get kicked off, because the inaugural launch is coming up soon in the next week and a half. You're going to be seeing some information about it, so I hope to have you join us, because it's going to be great stuff. All right, take care and talk to you soon. Oh, don't forget, www.patriciavhayes.com, or check me out on Facebook at PVH Consulting Group. All right, take care, guys. Bye.